Hi everyone, welcome back to Nature News. I'm Alice Ford and I'm super excited to be back with you. Just returned from Alaska to bring you this week's most important news in wildlife and science. So I wanted to start today with some news out of Australia. Koalas, the sleepy and cute marsupials, have sadly lost 1/3 of their species over the last 3 years. Now, this is mostly due to heavily destructive wildfires that actually raged throughout Australia in 2019 and 2020, which you may remember. These were spurred on by a decade-long drought that devastated the river red gum trees, the koalas' lifeblood. So they've really struggled and lost a huge percentage of their population. So if you want to help, you can actually visit savethekoala.com, which is save the koala, which is spelled KOALA.com. You can then adopt a koala, you can plant a tree, or you can just learn more about how you can help koalas. Another way you can help is actually by reducing the use of paper products in and around your home and office. Now, this helps reduce logging, which in turn helps the global temperature and biodiversity. Now, over in Germany, scientists are trying to potty train cows. Yes, you actually heard that right. Now, this is in an effort to find solutions to environmental damage caused by livestock waste. Agriculture is the largest source of global ammonia emissions, and livestock makes up more than half. So when ammonia is actually combined with soil, it creates nitrous oxide, which is a greenhouse gas. That is what contributes to climate change. But ammonia isn't all bad. It may also be able to be used as a fuel for vehicles. Now, in Australia, a chemist named Douglas McFarlane has been working on a fuel cell that would convert renewable energy into ammonia, which, when used as a fuel, is actually carbon-free. So ammonia is one nitrogen atom combined with 3 hydrogen atoms. And it may not seem like an ideal fuel. I mean, it's a chemical, it's used in household cleaners, it smells terrible, and it's also toxic. But its energy density by volume is nearly double that of liquid hydrogen. It's easier to ship and distribute as well, according to the experts. Now, making it the green way uses a process similar to creating green hydrogen, which you may remember from my video on that, which uses electrolysis and a process of high pressure and high heat, which in these scenarios is powered by wind or solar. Now, ammonia is most notably used as a fertilizer, and up until now, its process has been anything but green, much like all of the other fuels we use. But renewable ammonia could serve not just as a fertilizer, which is a traditional role, but also as an energy-dense fuel, because it can be used not just in a fuel cell, but also burned in a regular engine, which is pretty awesome. Now, I'm not an expert on ammonia or its sources as a renewable energy, but what I do know is that as we continue to get off of fossil fuels, we're not going to be just looking at one renewable fuel source, we're going to be needing many. It's things like this that promote innovation and outside-the-box thinking that will help the planet as a whole. So if you want, I can do a deep dive on renewable ammonia, but I'd also like to thank one of the viewers for actually sending me some information on renewable ammonia so that I can include it in today's episode. And if you guys have other topics or nature news items that you want included in an upcoming episode, make sure you drop a comment down below. In other news, giant sequoias over in Sequoia National Park right here in California have been wrapped in protective foil. Now, California wildfires are burning in many places, including in and around Sequoia National Park. So these huge trees were wrapped with fire-resistant aluminum, which so far is helping these trees be protected from the fire. The General Sherman is the largest tree on the planet. It's 275 feet tall, 36 feet wide, and losing this tree or some of the other trees in this grove would be absolutely devastating. Equally terrifying is the rate of deforestation in the Brazilian Amazon that has just reached the Amazon's interior core. Now, satellite imagery is showing a horrifying pattern of logging, which is advancing into the deepest sections of the Amazon. Evidence of logging in indigenous reserves and conservation areas makes it clear that much of this logging is illegal, but it doesn't help that President Bolsonaro has also virtually invited cattle ranchers and others to illegally appropriate land. In December, the president signed a decree making illegally appropriated land the official property of occupiers, which is like making squatters property owners for stealing your home. Yeah, it's absolutely unthinkable. And in February, the government actually launched an app to simplify this process. So as you can imagine, a lot of forest land is being stolen and reappropriated to be clear-cut and used for other things. Now, the forest is becoming so depleted in many places that after just a few years of grazing or farming, nothing can grow there because the thin layer of humus has worn away. And in other places, biotypes have emerged that have little in common with the original rainforest. This new vegetation can't absorb the huge amounts of water that flow into the catchment areas of the Amazon River. And Brazilian climate scientist Carlos Nobre actually believes that a critical point is coming when the Amazon will no longer be able to supply itself with enough water, which is bad news not only for global biodiversity, but carbon sequestration in the world's largest rainforest. If you guys are looking for a weekend show, well, Disney Plus and National Geographic just released Secrets of the Whales. This is a TV series. It's filmed over 3 years and in 24 locations. And you won't want to miss it if you love the ocean. And if you do, make sure you also hit that subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up so we can grow the community. Did you know that there's enough food to feed the world's 7 billion people, yet 800 million people go to bed hungry each night? At the same time, 1/3 of all the food that's created is lost or wasted, which amounts to more than $1 trillion annually and more than 2.5 billion tons or more of food. Now, this waste, despite being a waste, also generates 10% of the heat-trapping greenhouse gases caused by people. And it's not just what we throw out at home or at restaurants or at grocery stores, but one of the overlooked causes is actually food loss at the farm. And in past years, studies have shown that it's the undeveloped countries where we need to look for this issue of food loss. But this new report actually shows that farm stage losses are often even greater in high and medium income countries and places such as right here in the United States, in Europe, and industrialized regions of Asia. So fixing food loss would not only lower our emissions, but we could actually feed the world. But there are many things that you can actually do at home. You can push the limits of your ingredients. You can do things like using old bananas for bread, reviving tired greens in an ice bath, or chop stuff up and throw it in the freezer if you're not going to eat it in the next couple of days. Old tomatoes make great sauces and soups, and lots of things can be thrown into a stew, a soup, or a sauce. And also watch those expiration dates because they can be misleading. They're not usually spot on, and many foods are still good to eat days, weeks, or even months after the sell-by date, but use your best judgment on this. This month, I'm also teaming up with the World Food Program to end hunger. Because if we could reverse our food wasting habits, we could help the World Food Program end hunger for good. So from now on, I'm gonna be a more conscious consumer and only buy what I need and will use. You can share how you're going to end hunger and help with the World Food Program by sharing your stories on social media with the hashtag #StopTheWaste. Lastly, did you know just about anything can have a recycling symbol on it? Well, I'm sure you've seen those little arrows on the bottom of many items. A lot of these aren't actually recycling because there's actually no legislation behind who can stamp a recycling symbol on a container. So California actually just passed a legislation that would require companies to prove that their items are actually recyclable before they can go and print the recycling thing on it. So this is a really big step forward. As one of the senators said, lots of people recycle stuff because it has the symbols or because it's plastic, but it doesn't mean that it's recyclable. And we think that these things are going to the recycling center when actually they're ending up in a landfill. So California isn't the only state to pass some sort of recycling ordinance. Maine and Oregon this summer also passed laws overhauling their state's recycling system by requiring corporations to pay for the cost of recycling of their packaging. Now in Oregon, the plan includes a task force that would evaluate misleading or confusing claims related to recycling, much like California's. But if you really want to help, you need to cut down on your recycling by reducing your single-use plastic containers. And this goes back to wasting food. We need to shop better at grocery stores. We need to pay attention to the packaging, to the size of the food, whether or not we're going to eat it, whether or not it has frivolous packaging. A lot of grocery stores wrap produce in single-use plastic, which is ridiculous. You know, there are plenty of grocery stores out there that will allow you to buy bulk items, put them in your own refillable containers. You know, you can bring produce bags and bring your own bags for things as well. So there's lots of ways that you can reduce not only your wasted food, but your wasted packaging. And I hope that you guys start to make some changes if you haven't already. So that's all for today. Thank you guys, as always, so much for watching and supporting Nature News. I hope to see you guys in the next video. And if you've got stories that you want to share, make sure you drop a comment down below.